411 Live.
Where you can learn about issues that impact us every day. State of world, 411 Live.
Real people, real talk.
Made to help people in our community in every way. For your girl, 411 Live.
Some people have kind of written off the drug crisis in Milwaukee County, Wisconsin, because the numbers have gone down. But the truth is, going down isn't gone, and the numbers are still too high. Think of it kind of like medication. Just because you start to feel better doesn't mean you stop taking the medication. And with prevention, to prevent overdoses, it's not just about reducing the numbers, but it's also about the potential of keeping it from rising again. Hello, everyone. I'm Beverly Taylor. This is the 411 Live. Real people, real talk. We're talking about the drug crisis in Milwaukee County, things that are going on to prevent it, to reduce it, to keep it from rising. I have a great guest with me to answer a lot of questions that you might have about this, and this is Jeremy Triblett. Welcome, Jeremy.
Thank you for having me.
He is the Prevention Integration Manager for Milwaukee County. Prevention Integration Manager. And he's been in this prevention space for several years. You're a young man, but you've been here for a while making inroads, and we want to talk about that. But first, I have to say, we met. You know, these encounters, you just never know when you're going to meet somebody.
Milwaukee.
Yeah, in a Target store. And he started talking to me, and we were talking about the vending machines, which we will get into. And then I was like, oh, my goodness, you need to be on the show, the 411 Live. And you were like, sure. So thank you for coming. Thank you for taking me up on that offer. I wrote down something. I wrote down about you. You want to increase access to life-saving tools, keep education ongoing, and make harm reduction a cultural norm, not just a reaction to a crisis.
Yeah.
I like that.
Thank you.
And from all the things that you told me, I think that sums it up really, really well.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, because you're doing a lot of things in all of that. So when we talk about the numbers declining, and like I said, declining doesn't mean gone.
Yes.
Help us to understand the status of the drug crisis in Milwaukee County. What are we looking at now?
Yeah, so what we know in Milwaukee County is that we have certain populations of folks who are more susceptible to substance overdose death. Sometimes it is because they don't know what's in their substances. Sometimes it's just because of life, and sometimes their bodies give out. And so we know that there is nationally an increase. It's too high, as you said at the introduction beautifully. And particularly in Milwaukee, we're talking about a higher rate amongst men in the middle age who are folks of color, particularly Black men. We have a lot of data that shows that sometimes it is because they don't even know their substances have adulterants in it. And so when we talk about adulterants, we're just saying at first you thought you were buying crack cocaine, you didn't know it also had fentanyl in it. Sometimes folks know that there's fentanyl in it.
And
they prefer it.
They prefer it.
And here's a part of the reason that fentanyl is even in the drug is because it can stretch it. You can't smell it. You don't really taste it. It can stretch the drug, and it increases the high. We're talking 100 times more potent than morphine.
Okay.
And so people are getting high, and once you get a higher high than your last high, you want to keep going higher and higher. No pun intended.
Yeah.
And so that's what's happening here. You introduce folks, unbeknownst to them, to an additional substance that increases the high that they're receiving. And because it is a disease, you start craving the higher high. And so that's a part of how that market is starting to work. And so what we're saying is people may be aware or not aware. What we're focused on is the behavior.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is I don't have to judge you for using substances. What I have to do is see the humanity in you. I have to see that you're making choices every day like everybody else. And in every choice you make, there's an opportunity to first make sure you stay alive after you make that choice. Mm-hmm. And there's an opportunity to put in front of you options just in case you're faced with that choice again.
So, and that leads us into the harm reduction part.
Yeah.
But what you just said is really a cultural shift too,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, it's people. I tell people like this. I always ask folks the question, when are you going to stop wearing your seatbelt? When are you going to stop wearing a helmet? When are you going to stop putting on sunscreen? You don't just put it on or wear them when you feel like it. You wear them to reduce the likelihood that you catch skin cancer, get a brain injury, or die in a car accident. Right. So when it comes to harm reduction, people always want to know, well, when do I hand it out? Right now to everybody you see, as much as you possibly can. Every car has a seatbelt in it. Every person who sells you a bike is going to sell you a bike, and they're going to have a helmet nearby.
Right.
Because everybody understands we already live in a world of harm reduction. We just didn't realize we did. The stigma makes us look at people who use and say they don't need harm reduction. Well, excuse me, do you not need harm reduction?
Oh, that's good.
Right? And so we have to, that's what I mean when I say we need to normalize reducing harm with substance use the same way we've normalized click it or ticket.
Okay. So that brings us to harm reduction vending machines.
Okay.
And I remember when these things were launched, and I remember hearing about them, but I hadn't seen them. And now knowing what's in there, it's like a vending machine, whereas people are used to going to a vending machine and getting snacks out of it. And instead of those snacks, you can get a gun lock. Tell me about these vending machines.
Yeah, so we had gotten word they were bubbling up all across the country. And my supervisor came and was like, you should look into this thing called a harm reduction vending machine or whatever. And I was like, cool. So I started doing research. And there was another county in Wisconsin who had one already. 2 young ladies, they had went somewhere, bought it from a guy who made vending machines, put it in the back of a truck, hauled it to where they wanted it to go, and then placed it where they needed it to be.
Okay.
And I was like, dang, that's an interesting story. What are you all doing with it? I started learning about it. We had additional dollars because of COVID to purchase things related to substance use. We purchased 25 machines off bat. And the only reason we did it is because people are familiar with harm reduction, with vending machines themselves.
Right.
Nobody's looking at a vending machine wondering how it works. That's normalized. And so the science behind what I do is called prevention. And as a preventionist, I think to myself, what's the easiest, quickest route to be most effective? Vending machines fit that category. Familiarity wins every time.
Absolutely.
So then we had to start asking ourselves, well, how do we begin to put things in there? We worked with the guy, and what we found out was these 5 items were critically important. If I go pick up a drug right now and I want to take it, the first question I have to ask myself is, does it have an adulterant in it? Does it have xylazine in it or fentanyl in it? I'm going to test it. So we put xylazole, Tylenol, and fentanyl testing strip kits in the vending machine. Now, if I test it and I find out it has something I don't want in it, I have 2 options. I can take it or I can throw it away. So we put in there deactivation bags. You can put an illicit drug or even a pill in there, liquid in there, and you add water, and it dissolves it. You cannot get high from those things anymore. And you can put that in your garbage can.
Nice.
A lot of folks are used to going to dropping off their drugs at a police station. Keep doing so. And if you don't want to make the trip, you can go to a vending machine, grab one of those, and throw all of your drugs away and put it in the garbage can. Can't nobody else get high off of it. Now, that's only if you don't want to use it. But if you do want to use the drug, we have options for you. First off, we want to make sure you keep that drug in a lock bag. Why is that important? Because we know there's a lot of people who get introduced to drugs just by who they know. And so we want to make sure if it's yours, it stays yours. Lock it up. These locks come with combinations and or a key. Choose which one you want.
Okay.
And then the next thing we put in there is nasal Narcan. We chose nasal Narcan because it seems to be the easiest you can apply. There's other Narcan you can put in through a syringe and you have to poke somebody with it. But people have a little bit of phobia with that. Particularly with nasal Narcan, anybody, if you're using, we tell folks to use in a group. If you overdose, somebody else can just literally put it in your nose and press the button, and they can help save your life.
Wow.
The last thing we put in there is we put in there gun locks. You mentioned that before. We know that people who are dying by suicide are going to use three things predominantly. They're going to use either a gun, medication, or strangulation or suffocation to die by suicide. And we also know that people who are using substances, if they have firearms on them, have a higher likelihood of harming themselves or others. The connection is already there. The through line is already present. Let's put the gun locks in there as well.
Nice. Oh, man. This is really thought out.
Oh, yeah.
Very thorough.
It gets way more thorough than your listeners probably want to know.
And it's good. And so it's free.
Oh, it's all free. It's free, it's free, it's free. Even if it's in a building, we have about 18 locations. We're adding one this year that's going to be outside for the first time.
Oh, okay.
Amongst the 18 locations, they're all in the building except for the one. And the buildings are already, we go to them, they apply for an application. We interview all of them. I'm talking if we have 30 people who want a vending machine, we'll interview all 30 in their location. The people we select are because we have a big map that shows us how vulnerable a community is and what the overdose rates are. Okay. When I say vulnerability, here's the research, and maybe a little bit too much, let me know. The CDC put out a report on about 16 different points of vulnerability. What I mean by that is, in a community, how many people don't have education? How many people did not complete school? How many people are impoverished? All of these little details. And what they do is they composite them to figure out how vulnerable that population is. We took that particular work, which really was birthed out of the pandemic, and we said, let's layer on top of that the rates of overdoses. And what we find is the most vulnerable communities also have a higher rate of overdoses.
Wow. Yeah.
So we said, let's target those communities with harm reduction vending machines, but also place them around the whole county. So now we've got vending machines in about 5 different zip codes, 4 different municipalities. And all of them have the same thing. Every agency goes through a training, all of them, on how to administer every single last product. We deliver the machine. We refill the machine. We design books that tell you how to use all the supplies, videos hosted by community members that's demonstrating it, and we even put a poster next door. You can put your phone up, grab the QR code, and watch it on your phone. So we've literally made sure every agency has what they need to service anybody, and they don't have to ask you a question. You can walk into anywhere. If they got a vending machine in it, they know. You can walk straight past the front desk, don't have to even make eye contact, go straight to the machine, have to ask no permission, put in the number, don't have to spend no money, and walk right back out and won't nobody question nothing.
Yeah. And so people are saying, okay, where are these vending machines? But it's easy to find them, right?
Oh, yeah. So on average, people live about 10 minutes away from any vending machine across the whole county. Mm-hmm. They are in 19 locations. You can find them at harmreductionmke.org. There's a map.
Harmreductionmke.org.
Harmreductionmke.org.
Mm-hmm. And you said there's a map that
There's a map that shows you. They'll scroll up on that map, and you'll be able to pick which one you want. You can look at it based off the address you want to go to or the address you're at. And in the booklet, when you get there, there's a book. In that book, it gives you a list of all the addresses, the name of all the agencies, when they're open, and where the vending machine is.
Perfect. Wow. I really like the idea. And I know, this is anonymous, like you said.
Sure.
You don't have to say anything to anybody. You go in there, you go straight to the vending machine, you're coming out. So you're not tracking or taking somebody's name. They don't have to sign anything or anything like that. But you still, whereas you may not know who's getting it per se, but you're still getting some success stories coming out of this, right?
Yeah. We've, for example, at the King Center on Valete Street, there was a gentleman who had used a substance in the bathroom and started playing basketball. And he fell down having an overdose in the middle of the game.
Oh, wow.
And there was two young ladies who had gotten trained on how to use supplies in the machine. They went to the machine immediately, grabbed some Narcan, and saved his life.
Oh, wow.
Those young ladies got an award from County Executive Crawley. So we've got countless stories of people making an impact. What we know is that people who are getting things from these machines don't necessarily want everybody knowing that they're doing that. And so we had to make a very intentional choice not to put up any barriers to you getting the supplies you need to save your life. As the numbers start going down, there may be a greater threshold. I'll say it this way. When the overdose rate continues to decrease, there may be a sign that more people are using the supplies, which means it's more normal, which means they're more receptive.
That's what we want.
Right? That means we have a greater opportunity to collect data. Because now there's less shame about going to go get the supplies.
Right. It's normalized.
It's normalized. So,
Love it.
and people have critique. They're just like, oh, they're going to bust open the machines. And we're like, okay, we'll fix them. They're like, oh, they may sell them on the street. There is no market for Narcan, right? How do you know who's getting it? Who cares? Let's look at how many people are dying.
Yeah.
Because dead people don't recover.
Right.
So now that we have it going down, we have to always think to ourselves, how do we sustain the decline and then increase the opportunity to saturate the community and change that behavior? So our next step is going to be, how do we collect data about who's using the machine?
Cool. All right, we're going to take a break.
Okay.
We're going to come back. We're going to talk a little bit more about harm reduction and, well, a lot of other things. So you're listening to the 411 Live. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Danny. See me after class. Okay, so, Jennifer? Yeah? Okay, let me know.
Danny, I just got this notice from your school. We need to talk. This is important. We need to talk.
Danny, we come. Oh, that would be really
Danny! Labs.
Danny! She's overdosing.
When no one else knows what to do, it's gotta be you. Carry naloxone. You could save a life.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Can you see anything different as a pill? No. You don't know?
Fentanyl is being mixed into everything now. There's only one thing that will save somebody's life. That is naloxone nasal spray.
Fentanyl, it's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
Why would drug dealers put a lethal dose of fentanyl in drugs if they know it's so harmful?
Really just all about the money.
I just didn't realize that one pill could change your whole life.
More kids should know.
Welcome back to the 401 Live. We were talking about the normalization of harm reduction. And I know that you guys do canvassing of neighborhoods, letting people know about the vending machines, that kind of thing. Are people receptive to this?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And especially all over the county, no matter how many people are passing away in a neighborhood, everybody's going, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, it does.
Yeah, we've canvassed all over the place, and the resounding result is people are either going to go, I don't deal with that, so I'm good. Amongst them people, there's folks who we can go, yeah, but do you know somebody? They may say, yeah. And there's an inroad. It isn't about only getting people who use. It's about getting people who know somebody who use. A lot of people, if they're choosing to use a drug because it's so personal, won't even tell you that they are using. They're not using with you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's less about being like, are you using drugs? And it's way more about, hey, did you know that there was a vending machine down the street from your house? And they're going, why are you talking about a vending machine? Then we go, yeah, this vending machine saves lives. They're hooked. They're like, okay, who life needs saving in my neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
And then we're going, people who may use substances definitely may need an opportunity to reduce the harm that they're going to either die or harm somebody else or whatever. And they're going, yeah. And so then we can start talking about, hey, in your neighborhood, you may have seen things. More people getting high. More of the supplies they're using to get high on the street.
Yeah.
There's opportunity for you to get to know this cool organization that's a safe place for you to get resources. And there's an opportunity for you to be somebody who may save a life. And so quickly, we're able to educate people. 90% of the time, they're receptive because most people want other folks to feel good, do good, and be good.
We were talking about, kind of the average person who maybe overdose.
Sure.
The age group, the male, the black male. And when I was talking to you earlier on the phone, we were talking about how important it is to have this available in your home. We were talking about drug usage is usually in a residence.
That's right.
And a lot of times it's in a residence with family members around. So when somebody overdoses, then if there's nothing there, family members are like, don't know what to do. But if there's something there, they know what to do. So I know I put that in a nutshell, but I thought that was really enlightening. Because people, you think, well, that's somebody else doing it, but brother such and such may be involved.
Well,
And what happens?
Well, we call that post-intervention. So think about it this way. There's a lot of people who, amongst the people who have experienced a family member overdosing, there is residual pain.
Yeah.
There is the transition of a family member that was beloved. There is the potential trauma from the experience, how you experienced, how you found out, who found them. And then there is the process nobody likes, which is potentially when either the police are called or folks come out and grab the body. So when someone dies in your house from an overdose, this ain't just about no overdose. This is about the family being reshaped in a way that is through a trauma. So we're not sitting around going, oh no, that's a family that had an overdose. We're going, that's a family that lost a loved one.
Yes.
That's a family in transition. That family needs somebody who can come there and help them understand resources, connect them to education for all ages and stages of life. Grandparents, grandchildren, mothers, uncles. And so we've even been thinking about and producing programs that think about that kind of stuff, connecting folks to therapists and to having conversations, leaving with them more supplies. Because we know that when someone dies like that at home, the likelihood that somebody else in that home will die like that goes up. Because many times people, when they lose someone close to them, they start recounting their own lives. Potentially, sometimes, questioning if they want to live.
Wow.
And when you see an exit option in front of you, sometimes it's the one you take. And so that's true for suicide prevention, substance use prevention, violence prevention. Many times people take a familiar route, especially when they've seen somebody else take it. And so we need to really start thinking at that point, once that person has passed away, it's all about wrapping our arms around that family with not just resources and education, but with love, empathy, and support as well.
I love that. I love that. And I mentioned you're a young man.
Yeah.
And you've been in on this route for a long time. What propelled you? And we talked a little bit about it.
Sure.
You have a backstory.
Yeah.
Because parents were on drugs?
Yeah. So I was born in 1990.
Okay.
3 months early. The doctor said I was not going to live.
Little baby.
Little baby. I was 1 pound.
Wow.
I could fit in the palm of your hand. And I remember my mother telling me this story, and she told me this because when she got into AA meetings and 12-step club, they taught her to always be honest about the experiences you've had. And what I love about that program is that she gave us something that a lot of other children don't have. She gave us her story. There's too many young people who are learning lessons in life that they could have just learned from their parents' lives because we're not talking enough.
That's good. Yes. Yes.
And so she started telling me about how the first 3 to 4 years of my life, she was on crack cocaine, she and my father. And a part of it was because back in those days, there wasn't a lot of conversation around postpartum depression. You have a baby that was born 3 months early and they're saying they're going to die? Right? Hello? And so I look back on her choices early in my life and go, I can have empathy for them because I understand that a lot of times we don't have resources, access, or language to describe life's circumstances. And we certainly don't choose them, especially when they're traumatic like that. And so for me, gone through that experience of being homeless, being in foster care, being molested, being physically abused, statistically, I'm supposed to be in a completely different position. Yeah. Statistically.
Yeah.
But I always say statistics aren't facts, right? And so everybody's life, you can make choices, you can come out of it. Statistics aren't promises, right?
Yeah.
And so what happened was she began to go through recovery herself. She married my stepfather, who I consider my father. And they begin to put in my life the things that help me make a different choice.
Excellent.
And so for me, it's full circle. Being able to work in a government agency with a community that I am from, it is a reflection of the changes in government. It's a reflection at the brilliance and beauty of our community. And it's a reflection of hope that generationally we can change things.
Love it. Love it. That's great. That is great. I can, and it all makes sense because I can hear your passion when you talk about this. I mean, you are just excited about it.
Yeah.
Of, the possibilities and what's going on right now. And I love that. And Milwaukee needs that.
Thank you.
So that is wonderful. Our time is up.
Oh.
It went so fast, right? But I want you to leave our listeners again with where they can find the vending machines, the website.
If you go to harmreductionmke.org, you're going to find educational pieces, a map where you can find the harm reduction vending machines, and there's a depot on there. So you can click a button, and it'll take you to where you can get these same supplies mailed to your house.
Wow.
You don't even got to go nowhere, okay?
You
So
guys
please.
are making it so convenient.
please grab those resources, and you're literally 10-minute drive away from saving a life.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Jeremy Triblett, the Prevention Integration Manager for Milwaukee County, has been with us and given us a lot of great information. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
I really appreciate it. I love that trip in Target.
I'm telling you.
There's something about it, right?
Go to Target, it saves lives.
And thank you for joining us for another episode of the 411 Live. Remember, we're a nonprofit organization, so if you'd like to partner with us, go to our website, the411live.org. Until next time, this is the 411 Live. Real people, real talk. I'm Beverly Taylor. If you would like to check out past episodes, there are many ways. Go to your favorite podcast platform. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Like and watch us on Facebook. Watch and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you have suggestions for future episodes, go to our website, the411live.org.